belated announcement of the abolition of slavery in Texas, Juneteenth. I'm here on behalf of the Boston branch of the NAACP, which has been a key participating member in a coalition of groups working on city council redistricting. Some of those groups include the Chinese Progressive Association, OISTE, Mass Vote, Project Hip Hop, Castle Square Tennis Organization, EBA, and the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights and Economic Justice, all of whom are represented up here right now. We are here to deliver a clear and unified message. Don't crack 2, unpack 4. Additionally, we will discuss our maps that we offer to the City Council and our ideas for next steps.
Great. Good morning. My name is Alejandra Senkieng. I am the Executive Director of OISTE, the Massachusetts Latino Civic Education Organization, and I join my fellow coalition members here today to talk a little bit about the process and also, what could have made it easier. The first thing is the battle for re-precincting had the City of Boston re-precincted before we had begun the process, and a lot of this would be much easier. Secondly, along with Mass Vote and Common Cause and other organizations, worked really closely with the legislators on the state level for the statewide redistricting process, and the leadership of those committees really reached out to us as groups, as advocacy groups and community groups representing the needs and wants of the general population, so that we could create maps that were just, that really increased the voting power for people of color across Massachusetts. And unlike the state process, the city process was much less inclusive, and the leadership did not, reach out and wasn't even receptive of actually meeting with community groups other than the hearings that they had pretty quickly and without a lot of publicity. And so when it's not working at the official level, then the community comes together, and this is how our coalition formed, the coalition of community groups from all across Boston that represent all ethnic groups and communities. And we're going to present today the map that we think is really the best map to increase the opportunities for people of color in Boston, and does more than any of the 4 maps that are currently on docket in the Redistricting Committee for City Council.
So people may have a copy of our map. It's here on the table, and the map that we propose for the City Council, we believe meets all the requirements for city redistricting while also adhering to the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and maximizes opportunities for communities of color, attempting to keep neighborhoods whole as much as possible. According to the 2010 census determination, the population of Boston is 617,598, so that each of the 9 districts must be approximately 68,622 people. The primary changes that we propose to the map would occur in Districts 2 and Districts 4. District 2, because of the historic political domination of South Boston within that district, we attempt to achieve a greater balance between the 3 primary neighborhoods of Chinatown, the South End, and South Boston. While keeping those neighborhoods intact, we simply remove the 2 Dorchester precincts, which are commonly known as the Polish Triangle, keeping the South End and Chinatown intact. A number of the proposals that the City Council has put forward would break up Chinatown or the South End, threatening to turn the clock backwards rather than forwards in terms of political opportunity for underrepresented communities. In District 4, which lost population, we believe this represents an excessive case of packing of people of color. District 4 has historically been 90% people of color, with blacks accounting for 68% of the district. Yet Boston, because Boston today is 53% people of color, we believe that the excessive packing of people of color into one district prevent us from reflecting the reality of the political opportunities that should be here in the city. So our coalition map seeks to intelligently unpack District 4 by splitting Dorchester into north and south districts rather than east and west districts. By that simple change alone, we change District 3 into a district which has over 70% people of color in terms of raw population and 67.5% people of color in voting age population. That's a summary of the map, and we'd be happy to answer questions afterwards. And now we'd like to hear from a couple of people in those districts who speak to the importance of why our principles are don't pack 2, don't pack 4.
My name is Deborah Backers. I'm Executive Director of the Castle Square Tennis Organization. I've been working in that community for over 30 years. First, I'd like to thank the Coalition for their efforts to resolve this issue with the City Council that we feel is very serious. We feel that the South End community and the Chinatown community should remain as whole. We have a long history of voting with the South End District and the residents of Chinatown. Castle Square holds a large number of affordable housing in the South End, along with Chinatown and other areas such as Villa Victoria. We have a number of issues that we have in common to maintain the affordability of the South End. So I really appreciate the work that the Coalition is doing, and we really urge the City Council to support the Coalition's map to keep the communities of color whole.
Hi, my name is Mariama White-Hammond. I'm a resident of Dorchester, and part of the reason that I support this map, first of all, we are the largest neighborhood in Boston, and I have a lot of pride in the fact that we are one of the most diverse neighborhoods also in Boston. We bring together all of the different racial communities in Dorchester. However, the way the map is currently drawn, we end up being split in ways that I don't think are actually best, both for representation or for bringing Dorchester together. It's split along that east-west divide in Dorchester, and I think that has actually continued to support a level of division instead of bringing people together. I think that this map creates more opportunities for Dorchester to unite around its diversity, and particularly to create more opportunities for people of color in Dorchester to work together and increase our opportunities for representation. Also, as we've talked about with the Polish Triangle, why would we have this small piece of Dorchester separated out? I think it makes more sense for the largest neighborhood to be broken into those two groups and make it an opportunity, again, for that diversity that already exists in Dorchester to be possibly represented in the way that we have city council seats happening. So I think that I also stand in solidarity with other neighborhoods, with Chinatown and the South End. I think it's, again, really important not that just maps line up numerically, but that they give real opportunities for folks to feel represented. I work all the time with young people who tell me that there's no point in voting. And I have to convince them otherwise. I have to convince them that there's a possibility that we can achieve power and that we can work together and that we can really be part of the process. The way that these maps have been drawn have not been about bringing people in and making people part of the process. It hasn't been necessarily about empowering communities to work together to achieve more political activity and engagement. And we believe that this map that we're proposing will really have an opportunity, 1, to bring people together, 2, to create better levels of representation in the city, and 3, really to unite neighborhoods to move together and create collective agendas. So we hope that more people will look at the map, look at the advantages of this map, and then call on city councilors to make our decisions based on what is best for the neighborhoods and the people that live there. Thank you.
My name is Rasan Hall. I'm the Deputy Director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. We are certainly supporting the map that has been put forward by the Coalition. From the Lawyers Committees for Civil Rights and Economic Justice perspective, we're concerned with the potential of minority vote dilution. What we ultimately want to see are districts that are drawn that increase the opportunities for communities of color to elect a candidate of their choice. And we believe that this proposed map does just that. The packing of District 4 is of serious concern, particularly when you look at the surrounding districts and the inability of those districts to elect a candidate of their choice, specifically people of color in those communities. So this is a strong representation of the coalitions that exist in the city of Boston and in the affected neighborhoods. And so we are hoping that the City Council would receive this map and pay attention to some of the distinctions and details that will really move this city forward. We're hopeful that in the event that they don't, that the mayor will receive this map and consider the options that are available to him. And in the event that those are not pursued, those between the City Council and the mayor, we then have to look at what the options are available to the members of this coalition to make sure that a map that is fairly drawn, that increases the opportunity for communities of color to elect candidates of their choice, what options can be pursued. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Who has the right to ratify this proposal or to decide whether they're taking it or not? What's the process of how do we propose to the mayor or to the city council to make some change?
Well, the map has to be introduced by a counselor. It can be introduced by community groups.
Okay,
so that would be the process of getting it through through the process at the city council level. It would have to be introduced through a counselor.
Okay, so who are our allies in the city council? Do we?
We'll see.
Okay.
So the process is that the city council itself appoints a committee. There's a committee on census and redistricting. That committee has been meeting regularly since last year.
Okay.
They held a number of public hearings. The meetings have been open to the public, so we thank them for that. They're not meeting behind closed doors. But it's become clear to us that although they had public hearings and we all testified and we all have submitted repeated testimony, that our voices as of yet have not been heard because none of the proposals and ideas that we've put forward have yet been incorporated into the city council maps. I would say some aspects have been taken on by some of the councilors, particularly some of the councilors of color. But nobody, as of now, no councilor has proposed this map. And that is why, as a community, our process is that we need to come out in public and say, this is the map we want, and use whatever means that we have available to put pressure on the city. So after the city council votes on a map, then it goes to the mayor for his signature and his approval.
And also, there are currently 4 maps on the city council's docket, all of which we feel pack District 4, which is against what we're trying to advocate for.
And most of which also break up the South End in District 2.
And people might think that, have the perception that the South End as a whole, because of, gentrification and housing costs, that it's it wouldn't be so important to communities of color, and that's actually not true. The South End, has Via Victoria, it has the different housing developments, and it also has a community of interest, shares community of interest with Chinatown, and so it's really, it is really important that the South End stay as whole as possible. We really maintain the integrity of that neighborhood, and it is for so that people of color and people of color can have a greater voice within District 2.
And specifically regarding District 2, we have submitted testimony and data to the City Council, which shows voting patterns over about, I think I submitted voting patterns for about 7-10 years, something like that, that show that consistently Chinatown and the South End have represented a community of interest which voted one way and South Boston voted another way. And consistently the South Boston vote represented at least 60% of the vote in every city council election. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for coming.